The 647th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MMA SGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And last but not least, we're brought to you by the Free Roll Football Contest. Up to $3,500 in prizes are up for grabs. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll to enter today.
Heidi ho, degenerinos. Welcome to episode 647 of the MMA Gambling Podcast and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to all the teachers out there because my kids are finally back in school and I'm finally free. Free at last, free at last. As a wise man once said. So yes, 2 high schoolers as of today, which is kind of odd. I wonder if we'll still be on the air when my co-host has 2 high schoolers. I don't know. Will podcasts exist in that many years? Who's to say? Thank you for coming to the show. So that's who it's dedicated to.
It's dedicated to an existential crisis is what
exactly
it's dedicated to.
That's what it's dedicated to, and there'll be more of that coming because a big birthday is coming in a few weeks. I am one of your hosts, Jeff Chalks Fox, or as what did I call myself in the Discord now? The pronunciation mangler, I believe I call myself. And there may be some of that this episode because we do have some newer fighters. But usually UFC is pretty safe for me because I know the fighters, and this is a UFC event. We got UFC Fight Night, a sneaky good, I would say sneaky good.
It's really good.
I've heard some people think it's not good, but yeah, it's at least good for the types of circles that we roam around in. So we're going to get you all the prelim fights today. Tomorrow will be the main card and the fancy dancy plays. So we're going to put that train wreck of Dana White Contender Series last night. We're going to put that aside. But just note, no one was bitching when Gumby was going 4-1 every week. But yeah. Second, he has a bad week.
Hey, we should recap that. I mean, I went 1-4. Underdogs went from being, what were they on the season, 14-1 or 13-2 or something like that to going 3-2. You know, it was a big swing of the trend there, and late replacement fight. Although we did nab the late.
That's the one you hit.
Correctly. Yeah, we hit that one right. And Gage Young looked good against Killian Salkill too. So and I stand by the fact that I think Shannon Clark's a better fighter, despite the fact she got caught. She just needed to get that in the clinch a little bit earlier. So altogether 1-4 night. That's fine. We're still up 14 units or a little under 14 units now on non-MMA or non-UFC regional action. So, keep tailing along with us on that. That's the good stuff.
No, you're YouTube capper, I've read. So we should not tell with you.
Oh, no. YouTube capper is a nicer term than Tapology capper, I think.
It? I don't know.
I think Wiki capper is the meanest one.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guess what I'm staring at right now? Wikipedia, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I know you love the Wikipedia pages.
I don't love it, but it's I find it the easiest way to run down the fight cards is through Wikipedia. So, but I do use Tapology as well. So there you go. And no, I don't use YouTube. I just watch us on YouTube. Well, yeah. I don't watch us. And I like and subscribe to us.
Yeah, there you go. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button at the bottom. We are, at the time of recording this, 86 people away from that coveted 1,000. So, be one of those 86 if you have not, if you were not part of one of the first 914.
Be one of those 86. Here's a good title.
Be Joe Pfeiffer.
Yes, be Joe Pfeiffer. And while you're on there, make sure you subscribe to the Bosses podcast as well. The Sports Gambling Podcast. They're back picking every NFL game against the spread like they've done for 13 years. 2011 is when they started doing that. So check out the Sports Gambling Podcast on your podcast catcher of choice and, of course, on YouTube. And please make sure to enter the free roll football contest. We're begging you. Up to $3,500 in cash up for grabs. Sign up at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll. All right. We're begging you to take our money, take our $3,500. So, all right. Off to UFC Fight Night. Burns versus Brady, non-middleweight names. So they're down a weight class. UFC got confused. So we have a non-middleweight main event.
It's one weight class off. Maybe they're just beefy enough that the UFC forgot.
Yep. And they both have fought at middleweight before, I think. Maybe not. No, they both fought down a weight class. That's right. So anyhow, we're going to talk about that tomorrow. We're talking about the prelims today. Some interesting names on the prelims as well. So that is what we're going to do today. That's September the 7th is when this is going down as per usual, which would be this coming Saturday night as per usual, 4 p.m. Eastern time. How many times can I say as per usual? We'll see. 4 p.m. Eastern time as per usual is the start time for this. And it is on ESPN Plus, starting things off with a couple of newcomers. Gumby would know. There'll be foreign to the rest of us, but Gumby definitely knows who they are because they fought on Tough. Zygimantas, Ramaska. There should be an S at the end of his name, don't you think? Ramaskis, it should be, right? But it's not. It's
you messed up the first name despite me giving you the previous.
Zygimantas Ramaska.
Yeah, there you
and go. Nathan Fletcher. Featherweights. One of them has a couple accents in his name. One of them doesn't. Guess which one? We're going to break down the one with the accents, Mr. Ramaska first. 9-2, 5 knockouts, 4 submissions. So he's finished everyone. He himself has been knocked out once, so he owes his rounds. This is his debut in the UFC. He went 1-0 on the Ultimate Fighter. Is that right? And then he got hurt. Is that what happened?
Yeah, so he had a minor fracture just below his cheekbone and like the soft bone that's right here. And they thought they were going to clear him, but they wound up pulling him right before his semifinal fight. He was going to fight eventual winner Myron Santos in the semifinals.
Yes, he was the guy with the broken face. I remember now. He's won 3 straight fights, official fights, not counting the tough fights because they are only, 2 rounds, right? 3 straight fights and 4 of 6. He's not fought an official fight since May of 2023. He's not lost since October 2021. Used to fight at lightweight, 4 inches of height, 1 inch reach over Fletcher, plus 124. So a tight one starting off. Fletcher's 8-1, 1 knockout, 6 submissions. He's been knocked out once. He owes his rounds as well. This is his debut. He went 0-1 and tough. He lost to the winner, right? Did you?
No, he lost to Con Offley, I believe.
Right.
If I'm remembering correct. Yeah.
He's won 2 straight real fights. His last one via submission. That was back in April 2023. He's not lost since September 2021. He used to fight at bantamweight, 2 years younger than Ramaska, minus 138. All right, tell us what all you know about these guys.
So first of all, these guys were supposed to fight at that little finale show right afterwards. Dana White chose to give them an extra fight. Ramaska because he pulled from the tournament with an injury. Nathan Fletcher because he broke his fibula and then kept training on it for weeks.
Oh,
Really was like, oh, my leg kind of hurts.
Savage.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Did we break this one down last time before it got pulled?
No. I never said Zygimantas before, so no. Or maybe you did and I was on vacation, maybe.
I
missed one show.
It might have been when you were gone. Yeah, so to recap, I'm going to take Nathan Fletcher here. He pulled from the fight the first time with some sort of illness, and the number is actually ticked down a little bit because of that. I think he was like negative 155 when we broke it down last time. And the fact that he's the guy who pulled out, I think is allowing a little bit of money to come in Ramaska. But just like the last time, I believe in the grappling of Nathan Fletcher. If you watch the fight with Con Offley, ultimately just a bad style matchup. Con Offley, a good wrestler with great jiu-jitsu, just like Fletcher. And even then, Fletcher took his back and was looking to sink in a choke at one point of the fight. So, I think Fletcher is going to have a massive grappling advantage here. Whereas Ramaska, his one fight was pretty darn exciting, but it was exciting because he got cracked by Bekhud Usmanov. And Bekhud Usmanov, the dude's a flyweight. He was fighting up 2 weight classes so that he could be on the Ultimate Fighter, which props to him for doing. But at the same time, Ramaska kind of got tagged by him. I actually thought he probably lost the first round despite what the judges said. So for Ramaska to be the type of striker who I think can't run away from a flyweight despite having a big reach advantage and a big power advantage, and then clearly being the guy who's the worst grappler in this fight. Fletcher has also submitted guys like Dan Doyce, who is a really good grappler out of Cage Warriors that we've broken down a few times, or Brian Boland, who's a name I know out of Belgium, who's a pretty darn good grappler. Fletcher subbed both those guys, so I have no reason to believe he couldn't sub Zygimantas Ramaska too.
Yeah, I'm taking Fletcher as well. Basically, I think he's got a better resume as well, on top of everything that Gumby says. So, because I haven't watched a bunch of tape on these guys, not a tough fan, but yeah, I think he's the better pick all around, and I'm glad that Gumby is on board with that as well. So
it was a good season of Tough for the record.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I was planning on going back and watching the fights, but didn't get around to it. These things happen in MMA, Gumby, sometimes. All right, this man. is another tough graduate. Middleweights, André Petroski, that would be, versus Dylan Budka, who is a graduate of Gumby's Top Turtle MMA podcast. So, all right. He is the mindless Hulk, Mr. Budka. 7-3, 1 knockout, 2 submissions. He didn't really have, he had actually a good mindless Hulk answer for why he's the mindless Hulk. His answer really was no, it was just like, duh, they just called me that because I'm kind of,
big and strong.
It was a perfect answer. It was a perfect answer for a guy named Mindless Hulk. So anyhow, 7-3, 1 knockout, 2 submissions, knocked out once, submitted once. 0-1 in the UFC. He's won 2 of his last 3 and 2 of his last 4. Lost the last fight via TKO. 1-0 contender series. Used to fight at lightweight and heavyweight. 2 inches of reach over Petroski, 9 years younger. He was outstruck in his one. Oh, actually, he's fought twice. We have stats for it. Contender series and UFC. He was outstruck by 0.76 strikes per minute. Plus 250. Petroski, 11-3, 4 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times. 6-2 in the UFC. 1-2 over his last 3, 6-2 over his last 8. Won his last fight. 1-1 the Ultimate Fighter. Was a regional champion. Used to fight at welterweight. 3 times more active lightning strikes than Budka. Better grappling stats, not surprisingly either. He has outstruck his UFC opponents by 0.3 strikes per minute, minus 270. Going chalk again here. Petroski. I haven't quit on Petroski yet. I still think he's a very good fighter. Better fighter than Budka. Basically, you're only going to beat Petroski if you can catch him a knockabout. And Budka's not that. With a name like Mindless Hulk, you would think he would be a slugger that knocks people up, but that's not really his game. So I think Petroski can lean on his grappling and pound his way to a victory here.
Yeah, it's crazy that we're talking about Petroski being like, I'm still on him despite all that's happened. And his 2 losses, what are they? Michel Pereira. And let's face it, Michel Pereira's movement to middleweight was brilliant. Like, he should have been a middleweight all along. He's now main eventing an Apex card coming up shortly. And then the other one was when he went to go take down, what's his face? Jacob Malkoun, and he headbutted that dude's hip bone and knocked himself out.
Knocked himself out, yeah.
And so, like, what are we off of on Petroski? I mean, the 2 losses by TKO, but, like, how? One is a freak who looks like a heavyweight, never mind a middleweight or a welterweight. And the other one was like, he can't even take credit for that win. I mean, he pranced around the ring like he could take credit for that win. Bottom line here is I think Petroski is the similar type of fighter than Budka. Like, both of them not going to overwhelm you with the hands. I think Petroski has shown that he has like some glimmer of getting better in that way as long as he's not being pushed back. And in terms of the wrestling, like, I think Petroski is a better wrestler. I think his submission game is a little bit better than Budka's. Like, I think Budka has got a lot of promise, but I do think that he's just happening to run into the worst kind of style matchup here. And am I wrong? Or did he wasn't the original opponent for Petroski, was he?
Let me check.
For some reason, I think Petroski was scheduled with somebody else. I could be wrong.
You're the one who interviewed the mindless guy. Come on.
Yeah, I don't think it was short notice for Budka, but I do think.
No, I don't see nothing in Tapology. Nothing under canceled or fizzled. So who's to say? Maybe there's something in the works before that we don't know about. So, but yeah, I'm not really saying we're off Petroski. I guess no one really is off Petroski if he's minus 270, right?
Well, I mean, like, it could be a fate of Budka. Although, like, again, I don't know how much we learned from Budka in his fight with Cesar Almeida. He shot a takedown and took an elbow to the head, and like.
Yeah,
I mean, like that. These kind of things happen in MMA. If we want to keep using that line today.
What I've learned though from what you said is you shouldn't shoot takedowns because both these guys got hurt. Got ended by shooting a takedown. Yeah, so that's the moral of the story. Don't grab.
I hope this doesn't wind up a striking match. I think it would be pretty poor if it did.
It would be Dana would like it, I'm sure. But it would be sloppy. All right, before we move on, we haven't picked any underdogs yet, but we are both in on Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy Pick'em gives you a chance to win 1,000 times your entry. That's a lot of times, a lot of X's. The NFL is back. If you haven't heard, how could you not have heard? And there are a ton of Pick'em specials to get you started. You can now use specials and boosts on all flex entries. Maybe Gumby will give you a NFL pick here. Maybe he'll give you a Atlanta Braves pick here. Well, let's see.
So if you're watching this on Thursday, yeah, maybe you're jacked up for football, but you should, or before Thursday, I should say, because you could be watching this on Wednesday. I'm going to get down on Reynaldo Lopez's higher than on his strikeout numbers, because right now, over his last 3 games, he struck out 23 batters. And the numbers I've seen posted on him lately, 5.5 most of the time. So he's averaging well over that in his last 3 games. So get in on Reynaldo Lopez's strikeout numbers as he takes on the Colorado Rockies.
And who does he pitch for, ladies and gentlemen?
The Atlanta Braves, of course.
Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
Sign up with our code MMA SGPN, even if you're not going to make Atlanta Braves plays. Sign up with that code, please, to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Underdogfantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. Now, back to our show, picking winners, hopefully. All right, we're on the same page thus far. We are going to move on to women's strawweights. Jaqueline Amorim versus Vanessa Demopoulos. But we're both kind of in on both these ladies, so this is it's a tough one, but let's break it down. Demopoulos is a little monster. 11-5, 1 knockout, 4 submissions, never been finished in a fight. Very, very durable fighter. 5-2 in the UFC. She may get beat up, she may get bloodied, but she doesn't get finished. 5-2 in the UFC, which is impressive. She won 2 straight and 5 of 6. Has missed weight before. Used to fight at flyweight. 0-1 contender series. Was the LFA champion. More active landing strikes than Amorim. -1.7. She's been outstruck by 1.71 strikes per minute in the UFC and contender series, plus 250. Guess what Amorim's nickname is, Gumby?
Jackie.
Yes. What a great nickname. Jackie's 8-1, 2 knockouts, 6 submissions. Finished everybody. She herself has never been finished, so she owes us rounds here. 2-1 in the UFC. She won 2 straight after dropping her debut, and both those have come via finish. Both the past 2 wins. LFA champion, a multi-time world champion in BJJ, and medalist and all that good stuff. Medals of all colors. Inch of height, 9 inches reach, 7 years younger than Demopoulos. Demopoulos, like we said before, not doesn't really have the physical makeup of a top MMA fighter, but she's making it work anyhow. Better striking and grappling stats than Demopoulos. She's been outstruck she has outstruck her UFC opponents by 1.48 strikes per minute, -300. So another kind of big line here.
I'm gonna make John real sad for a second. I'm gonna go Vanessa Demopoulos.
Okay, sell me here, because I was like, as I said last time, it's very hard to pick against her. Even despite all the physical limitations, she is finding a way.
I don't think she's as physically limited as you think she is. I think. I think she thinks you think is thinking.
What was that? What was that quote you just said?
When you first said, when I said I don't think she's as limited as you think. I think.
Yes, and then you changed,
and then I kept going. Yeah.
Anyhow,
everybody listening, not on YouTube, just had a stroke. No, look, Demopoulos, I think, is a lot better physically than you're giving her credit for. I like her in the clinch. I think she's looked good when she is in the clinch. I also will say she's won 4 out of 5 and fought people way more physical than Jackie Amorim.
Yeah.
Right? Like, she beat Kanako Marotte in the grappling department. And, like, if you can deal with the wrestling of Kanako Marotte, you can deal with the takedowns of Jackie Amorim. And Amorim is definitely better at jiu-jitsu. Like, you have to give her that. But is she better at wrestling than Kanako Marotte, who wasn't able to beat Demopoulos that way? I don't know if she is. And then in addition to that, like, Demopoulos has been in there with some top level women in like, what's Amorim's toughest fight? Like Corey McKenna? I mean, like, I guess it was Sam Hughes, since Sam Hughes like bodied her in there. And so, like, if you are actually worried about the physicality of Vanessa Demopoulos, you got to like the fact that Amorim has been like bodied in some of her fights, right? Because it's, she may be really good at jiu-jitsu and really sharp, but she's not super physically strong. Like, her makeup looks like she could probably make atom weight. Whereas I don't feel that way about Demopoulos. Like, she's got a little bit more size on her than that. So, like, even if, I don't know, she knows Amorim wants this one on the ground, I think Demopoulos winds up being able to be prepared for that kind of fight and stuffs enough of Amorim's takedowns. At the very least, when you say that you want to swing a dog here on Demopoulos, that it's better than a 2.5 to 1 chance that she wins this fight.
All right, I'm sold. I was wanting to take her anyhow, and just like last time, you were able to convince me. Yeah, she will fight for your money at the very least. And I think the Sam Hughes fight is very it's
a good corollary.
Good. Yeah, very good for this fight, because Vanessa Demopoulos is a grind him out type of fighter like that, and Amorim is going to want to wrestle, and that's right in her wheelhouse. So sure, let's do it, Gumby. Let's pick Lil Monster. Like I said, she's hard not to like and not to pick, and she keeps surprising us. So let's do it. Team ride. All right, except for Jong. Jong is not on this team.
Sorry, Jong.
I'm guessing. Featherweights, Yizha versus Gabriel Santos on the men's side, obviously. Featherweights, we're going to tell you about Lima first. Mascote, which I believe we discovered means mascot, right?
I don't think so.
No, it didn't mean. I thought it did. I thought it did. All right,
I think you made that up last time.
Did I?
And
yeah,
tried to get me to go along with it.
And
but
you
sure.
didn't? Okay. And I'm
I
trying
think
to
it's
do
a
it
region in Brazil, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm trying to get you to go along again. And Gumby didn't fall for it again. What does it mean? Google. Come on, Google. Mascote. Mascot. Yeah, mascot. I told you.
Okay.
I told you. See, you should have. Sometimes you should believe me. Sometimes, most times you should.
Still not on your side.
It could still be. It still could be a region for all we know. Anyhow, we'll just call him Lima. 9-0 with 5 knockouts. Actually, no. I'm telling you about. I shouldn't tell you about him first. After all of this, I should not tell you about him first. I'm telling you about Santos. I'm telling you about Yizha. That's the fight we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
All right. I skipped ahead. Not Mascote. We're doing that next. Yizha, I'm going to tell you about first. It's confusing, I know. Everyone's having a stroke today. Stroke for you all. 25-4 is Mr. Yizha. 5 knockouts, 14 submissions. Been knocked out once, submitted once, so he is very durable. 0-1 in the UFC. 5-0 in road to UFC and the champion. 3-0. Actually, he really should be 4-1 in road to UFC, right? But one of the fights actually took place in the UFC, like the finals of the first season. So,
I don't know what we count as what.
Yeah. Anyhow, he made it to the finals 2 years in a row, road to UFC. Not 2 years in a row. It was 2 years in a row in road to UFC. Won the most recent one. Okay. He's won 3 straight fights in 6 of 7. Last win came via submission, not surprisingly. He's fought at lightweight, an inch reach over Santos. Has outstruck his road to and UFC opponents by 0.62 strikes per minute, plus 220. Mosquitino. We know that means little mosquito, right?
I think so. Yes.
How could you be even littler than a mosquito as well? I want to know. Yet he somehow makes his weight class. He's 10-2. Mr. Santos, 3 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's been knocked out once. 0-2 in the UFC. Lost via knockout his last fight. That was back in June of 2023. Multiple region championships on his
mantle.
Sorry, having a drink. Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. I'm not wearing it today. Sorry. Used to fight at flyweight and featherweight. 2014 Pro MMA debut. 2 inches height over Yizha. More active lighting strikes. He has been outstruck over his 2 UFC fights by 1.57 strikes per minute. Minus 250. Guess I'm going with Little Mosquito here. You got to question Yizha's resume. Even the road to resume. Santos, I believe he had a couple of tough fights to begin.
They're brutal. They're absolutely brutal. I mean, one of them, he was having some success against David Onama,
right?
And then ate one of the most vicious uppercuts you've seen. And then the other one, I would argue he beat Lerone Murphy. I might be on an island on that, but when I watched it live, first of all, I had picked Gabriel Santos to beat Lerone Murphy in that fight, and it went to split. There was a good argument there that Gabriel Santos won that fight. Whether you believe that side or not, like there was at least an argument of it. And like, we're talking about a guy now who damn near beat Lerone Murphy on short notice. And he's going up against Yizha. And like Yizha, to your point, 2 of his last 3 wins are by submission. The other one's by decision. He's not a guy who goes out there and knocks people out. Is he going to out-grapple Gabriel Santos? Like, I don't think so. Like, Santos looked amazing. He was the LFA champ, did you say?
Multiple regional champs. I don't think he was LFA though.
I want to say he was an LFA champ.
You keep talking.
All right, put the intern on it. But my point is like he's got good regional experience, and like his sub game has always looked phenomenal. Like if you go back to the early parts of his record, he's got some rear naked choke wins in there. I think he even looked decent trying to grapple and work in the clinch with Lerone Murphy. So I think he's going to have a massive grappling advantage here, and that seems to be the only way Yizha wins. So, yeah, give me Gabriel Santos here. I'm actually pretty big on the guy.
He was a tournament champion. Does that mean he won the actual belt or not?
Featherweight I think it was separate, but I can't remember. I did remember seeing a belt on him that said LFA though.
Anyhow, he's fought very good people. He beat Elves Brenner. For that matter.
Not an easy dude to take out.
Yep, he's beaten some good people, and I'm questioning Mr. Yee's resume. So we're both in on Santos here, is what I gather from that breakdown. All right, we are moving on to a flyweight fight. Felipe dos Santos, Andre Lima. Finally, I can say Mascote. We're not going to tell you about him first. We're going to talk about Lipe Detona. That would be dos Santos. We already had long discussions about that nickname. We'll just move on.
Big mouth, basically.
Yes. Yep. 8-1 with 1 no contest, 2 knockouts, 3 submissions. 1-1 in the UFC. won his last fight after dropping his debut. 3 inches of reach over Lima, a year younger, more active landing strikes. He's been outstruck in the UFC by 0.54 strikes per minute, plus 165. Mascote, 9-0 with 5 knockouts, 2-0 in the UFC. He did miss weight, so keep an eye on that. He won despite missing weight. Usually fighters do not win when they miss weight, or more often than not, they don't. 1-0 contender series as well. Used to fight at bantamweight, better striking stats, better grappling stats, and he's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 1.29 strikes per minute, minus 180.
I'm going Felipe Dos Santos for me. What'd you say the plus number was?
Plus 165.
Yeah, I like that number too. Look, the big piece for me here, it's twofold. The first one is I don't know that Andre Lima is going to make weight here. And I'm not going to wait until he misses weight to pick against him, because then that number is going to sway. But he missed weight by 5 pounds against Mitch Raposo, and he ran out of gas in that fight. And it's not the first time he ran out of gas either. Like, if you go back to that fight where he was fighting Igor Severino, was it Igor Severino? That bit him?
Yes.
Yeah. Igor Severino bit him. And in that fight, like, we talked about it after it happened. It was kind of crazy that Severino beat him because he was finally getting the grappling going, and it looked like Lima was fading. Yep. And so, like, this is a guy who we've seen in back-to-back fights start to fade. And for Felipe Dos Santos, he's a shoot-to-box guy. He literally doesn't fade. He'll never fade, ever. You could have a 30-round fight with him, and he keeps moving. We saw that in the Manel Cape fight. He took some of Manel Cape's biggest shots, just kept walking forward, and made that a competitive fight over 15 minutes on short notice. And then, like, he turned around and fought Victor Altamirano and was like spam takedowns against him, and he still kept getting up and working his hand. So I like Dos Santos' ability to get up, to force people who wrestle to work, and I don't like the gas tank of Andre Lima. So give me Felipe Dos Santos on the money line here.
I'm going to go chalk, but all those were very good points. Dos Santos gets hit too often for going against a guy that detonates lips like Lima. So,
but he also gets hit a lot by dudes who hit really hard, and it's just okay for him.
well, we shall see. If this one makes it, watch it not even make the cage because he misses weight so badly. We shall see. We shall see. All right, let me tell you about some more people that are keeping the lights on here for us, like Rhythm. If you ever wanted to create your own sports betting model for football, do you even know what a sports betting model is? SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on moneyline spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model, copy one of the top-performing models from the leaderboard, or press Build a Model for Me. And Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop, and also has a myriad of stats, research, and trend analysis to give you even more betting insights. Rhythm college football team had everyone on Colorado versus North Dakota State under 59.5. Guess that was week 1 or maybe week 0 for all I know. And it was a sweet cash for everyone that followed along. So claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. How about buying yourself some tickets with all that money that you're going to win with Game Time. Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. But it's not, of course, not just MLB. UFC, MMA, concerts, sports, they got it all here. Last-minute deals is where they make their hay. You can save up to 60% buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. They also have seat views, all in price, and all that good stuff. Take guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our code SGPN, aka SIGPIN, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code SGPN for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, co-main event of the prelims. I don't think they call it that, but I'm going to. Featherweights, Isaac Dulgarian, who is on Top Turtle this week, Gummy's other podcast, versus Brendon Marotte. Marotte is the kid, 8-2, 5 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once, 0-1 in the UFC. He's won 3 of 4. Did lose his last fight via TKO. Used to fight at 155, 2 inches taller than Dulgarian, more active landing strikes than him. All right, get this stat. He was outstruck in his UFC debut by 39 strikes per minute. That's the average. I think he landed 3 strikes per minute, and he got hit 42 times per minute on average. Plus 1,200. Yikes. The Midwest Choppa with the A at the end. 6-1, knockouts, 2 submissions. So he's finished everyone. He has never been finished. He still loses rounds regardless. 1-1 in the UFC, did lose his last fight. Was regional champion, an inch reach over Marotte. Better grappling stats. Outstruck his UFC opponents so far by 0.35 strikes per minute, minus 1,800. Obviously, Dulgarian is the pick, despite Gumby interviewing him. He's the pick. Maybe via knockout. Maybe that. Probably not. That line's going to be bad regardless. But Marotte gets hit, obviously, far too much. Got knocked out in his last fight, and he's going up against a guy who can slug. So and finish fights. Midwest Choppa is our pick.
Yeah, no
our pick. Team Ride.
No need to break this down all that long. Dulgarian gets guys out there quick. Marotte takes too many punches. If you're looking for a prop to maybe make this playable, look for KO in the first 60 seconds. I know some books sometimes offer that. Like maybe that's worth laying into. But yeah, Dulgarian here. Marotte needs a guy who he can out muscle a little bit, and Isaac Dulgarian's not that. By the way, you said lost his last fight. He didn't lose to C-Rod.
Yeah, no.
And that was one of the worst decisions I've seen in a minute. Like he beat C-Rod. So, give me Dulgarian. Can't bet negative 1,800, but if you could, he'd switch.
If you could bet that, we would bet it. So, all right, to the main event. Oh boy, of the prelims. At least this is not a main event of the whole card. It may have been a few years ago. It's kind of a Spider-Man meme fight. Light heavyweights Ryan Spann versus Ovince St. Preux. We will tell you about St. Preux first. OSP, very original nickname. 27-17, 12 knockouts, 8 submissions. He's been knocked out 5 times, submitted 3 times. 15-12 in the UFC. A win-loss win over his last 3, 2-3 over his last 5. Used to fight at heavyweight, missed weight before at 205. Failed 2 drug tests fairly recently, like within the last half of his UFC career. 6-1 in Strikeforce. Strikeforce never died. 2008 was his pro MMA debut, an inch of reach over Spann. Better striking stats, and he's been outstruck in the UFC by 0.29 strikes per minute, plus 275. Superman Spann. He's still going with that nickname, is he? 21-10, 6 knockouts, 12 submissions. Knocked out 4 times, submitted 3 times. 7-5 in the UFC. He's lost 3 straight. He's gone 2-4 over his last 6. Lost his last fight via TKO. It's not won since November 2022. Missed weight before as well at 205. 1-1 in Contender Series. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Get sticky. Used to fight at middleweight. 2013 pro MMA debut. 2 inches of height over St. Preux. 8 years younger. More active landing strikes. He has been outstruck in the UFC as well by Contender Series by 0.64 strikes per minute. Minus 333.
I'm going Ryan Spann. First of all, another guy who we could probably talk about his record looking worse recently than it was. He didn't lose that fight to Anthony Smith. I don't care what you say about him possibly losing that fight to Anthony Smith, but I don't think he lost to Anthony Smith. And then the other thing is, too, anytime you're talking about Ryan Spann losing a fight, you're talking about Ryan Spann losing a fight because he made a mistake and is fighting somebody who can take advantage of it, right? And so, like, Ovince St. Preux is not a guy out there putting people away anymore. Ovince St. Preux is a guy, dude, his last finish, you might be surprised to hear this. Ovince St. Preux, the last time he finished somebody was in September of 2020. It's been 4 years since this guy took somebody out. And he just doesn't have that power. He doesn't have that quickness to manipulate somebody's errors the way he was when he was hitting all the Von Flue chokes and the counter lefts and things like that. Whereas Ryan Spann is still super athletic, and yes, he might make some mistakes, but I don't think Ovince St. Preux makes him pay. He won his last fight by having better cardio than Kenny Nzechukwu, which it seems like everybody does these days. So I'll take Ryan Spann. I think he outlasts him, and I think he's still got the ability to put him away too.
As I unmute myself, I will take the younger of the similar type fighters as well. Spann obviously has got to be the pick here.
I think you got to sweat if you put negative 333.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't think I'm going anywhere near that kind of line on him.
Not in real life, but we are forced to give you the winners, and hopefully he is the winner. All right, let's recap, and we'll get out your ears and eyes, and we'll go back in all your orifices tomorrow. We both have Spann, both have Dulgarian. We differed on this one. I have Lima. He has Dos Santos. Both have Santos. A lot of Santos to Santos here. We both going big on Little Monster, Demopoulos. Both have Petroski. Both have Fletcher. So there you go. You're all set. We shall be in the Discord discussing all of this and a bunch of other things. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. We shall be on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Still, we have a lot more listeners and viewers than subscribers. So smash that subscribe button at MMA Gambling Podcast. You can catch us on Twitter, X, SGPN MMA is the account. He's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm a Jeff Fox writer. I'm the same on Instagram. Check out my Substack. Smash subscribe on that as well. A free subscription will get you very least into my weekly UFC pick'em contest where you can win real live prizes. So that is moneymma.substack.com. Plus most of the stats, actually, all of the stats that I quote on this here podcast, I share those databases on those spreadsheets on my Substack as well. So moneymma.substack.com. Gumby has Top Turtle MMA podcast. I told you he was on already. I don't even have to ask him because I've listened. Actually, no, he can tell you about the one person because I'm forgetting now. But he did have Isaac Dulgarian on it. And the other person was actually someone who just fought last night and won. You picked him to lose, but he won.
Yeah, Keelan Salkild from Australia. And actually the second person out of that gym to win a contract on Contender Series this year. Him and Cody Hedone, both out of the same exact gym. So exciting times for that spot.
Best fight of the night, too. As per usual, the opening fight seems to be always the best fight on Contender Series this season. And, of course, where are we at? SportsGamblingPodcast.com. That's where we are. Gumby and I have articles on there every day, as well as everyone else. We're all getting geared up for football, so check it all out there. You can get your gear at SportsGamblingPodcast.com. You can get more content at SportsGamblingPodcast.com/Patreon. Back tomorrow. Low Monster Jeff Fox, Mindless Hulk, Gumby Vreeland back with the main card picks. See ya.